These are the new Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. They're priced at $199. They look different, the colors are cool, but how do they perform? Let's find out. To start with the case, it is sleek, pretty compact in form as well. It looks premium, but it doesn't quite feel premium. It feels a bit cheap plasticky, but that's fine. It's a bit thicker than the AirPods Pro case, but a bit shorter too. Put it next to the Bose QC earbuds, however, and it's half the size, both in width and in length. It has a magnetic lid, which I like too, but it's not easy to operate with one hand like the AirPods Pro case is. You kinda need both hands to open it. The buds sit in magnetically, and the case charges via USB-C or a Qi wireless charger. The buds themselves are pretty small as well. Unlike many of the buds out there, Samsung did not copy the AirPods stem design, nor did they continue with the bean shape of their predecessors. They do fit well and securely in my ears, and I did not experience much fatigue wearing them. My issue, however, is more with how you control them. As is the trend today, these are controlled with touch gestures. But their design and their small size kind of ruins the experience. For starters, the way they sit in your ears, it makes it sometimes hard to hit the touch surface. It might become easier with practice, but sometimes it took me several attempts before it registered my gestures. But my main gripe with these is that if you touch them to adjust the fit, that often triggers a touch gesture. At other times, removing them from your ear and you end up skipping tracks, pausing audio, doing all sorts of things with those gestures being registered. You can block the gestures by turning them off in the wearable app. That solves that issue, but creates a new one. You now cannot control anything with the buds themselves. The gestures are your typical 1 tap to play pause, 2 taps to play next track or answer a phone call, and 3 taps for previous track. And then touching and holding on either bud can be customized to either switch between active noise cancelling and ambient sound mode, increase or decrease the volume, or call up Bixby or Spotify. Do keep in mind that in order to do that, you need to configure these on the Samsung wearable app, which as of today is only on Android. So if you have an iPhone, you cannot do any configurations as the iOS app does not support these buds. I don't get why, but the iOS app only supports older generation buds, so this could be supported in the future, but as of today, if you plan on using them with an iOS device, keep that in mind that you cannot configure or change any of the settings. But how do they sound? Well, they sound okay. They're not bad at all, but nothing to write home about either. I don't generally spend much time here because this is a subjective thing, but to my ears, and I'm not an audiophile by any measure, they sounded pretty good. There's an EQ setting on the Samsung wearable app, which again you can only access on an Android device. The EQ gives you options of bass or treble boost, soft dynamic or clear EQs. Active noise cancelling. Samsung advertises these as, this is on the box, cuts external background noise by up to 99% of ambient sounds. Now, we all know that marketing often overpromises. Generally speaking, they try to be somewhere close to that promise, delivering not quite as much as promised, but somewhere close. I don't know what the folks at Samsung's marketing department were thinking, but I mean, this is far from delivering on that promise that you cannot even see the promise anymore. Seriously, the only way these can cancel up to 99% of ambient sounds is if you were in a dead silent room. Then maybe 99% of silence is cancelled, maybe? But yeah, that's a very bold claim, and even the best of the best of the best ANC gear out there cannot cancel out 99% of ambient sounds. Mind you, the ANC here is not terrible. I'm not attacking the ANC per se, just that laughable claim of 99%. Now, the ANC I found, while not terrible, was not great either. I do think the Bose QC earbuds and even the AirPods Pro outperform these with ANC. There are 2 levels, low and high, but I couldn't discern much of a difference between the 2 levels, which again you can only set via the wearable app on an Android device. But these buds do have some notable features. One of the novelties and standout elements with the Galaxy Buds Pro is Voice Detect, which automatically detects when you start speaking and kicks in ambient mode and lowers the volume of what you're listening to. And it's done in a smart way as well. It does not just detect any sound, but your own voice only. Otherwise, it will keep kicking into ambient mode whenever anyone around you talks. It detects your voice by using accelerometers to detect when your jaw moves and you actually speak. It's a pretty neat feature. You can change the duration before it kicks back into ANC from 5 seconds or 10 or 15 seconds, again only through the wearable app on Android. Cool as this may be, I'm yet to see how practically useful this would be in real life. It does take a second or two to kick in. Also, it would have been nice if you had the option to pause music instead of just lowering the volume. I assume if I start speaking, I'm conversing with someone, and I'd rather have the music paused than my brain trying to decide which is more interesting to follow, the song I'm listening to or what the other person is saying. Although I found that more of an issue indoors in a quiet environment where you could still hear the music even at a lower volume. Outdoors, I found the music volume was low enough for it not to be a distraction. Another thing to keep in mind, if you have a tendency to sing out loud to your favorite songs, you might want to turn this feature off unless you really like the sound of your own voice. Another nice thing on these is their IPX7 rating, which isn't that common on earbuds. So they can handle water splashes and rain, but they can also be submerged in 1 meter of water for 30 minutes, at least technically speaking. And another novelty here is their ambient sound mode. There are actually 5 levels of ambient sound mode: low, medium, high, and extra high. And that's a pretty cool feature actually. Medium is the most natural sounding and probably on par with the AirPods Pro, but not quite as natural. The high and extra high are sort of an augmented hearing aid-like thing. It gives you the illusion of having super hearing, which is cool if you're ever in a situation that warrants that. Unfortunately, you have to set the level in the app and cannot cycle through the different levels from the buds themselves. When you cycle through ANC and transparency mode, it just cycles between ANC and the level of ambient sound that you have previously selected in the app. And again, if you're on an iPhone, you don't get these options either. These also have seamless switching, following the footsteps of Apple AirPods, but of course you have to be using a Galaxy Tab and a Galaxy phone for this to work. So does 360 sound, which again is similar to the Apple's spatial audio, but again, not only does this require a Galaxy device, but one running One UI 3.1, which for now is only the S21 lineup. According to Samsung, the Galaxy Buds Pro can last up to 18 hours with the case and ANC on, and up to 28 hours with the ANC off. You can listen for about 5 hours continuously before you need to charge, and a 5-minute quick charge gives you about an hour of playback. Now let's see how these perform in our call quality tests. So this is what the Galaxy Buds Pro sound like in a quiet environment. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. Now let's introduce some simulated noise to simulate a noisy environment. So this is what the Galaxy Buds Pro sound like in a simulated noisy environment. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. To give you an idea of how loud the background sound is, I'm going to switch the camera's microphone. And now for the final test, let's see how the Galaxy Buds Pro fare against a loud hairdryer. So this is how the Galaxy Buds Pro sound like with a noisy hairdryer in the background. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. My thoughts. I have 2 main gripes with these, and then a few small ones. My 2 main gripes are that the ANC isn't that great, and the experience of controlling them isn't either. The touch gestures are flaky, and as I said, repositioning the buds or just touching them often registers a gesture and messes with our music. Also, I'm not a fan of how you control volume, which was added with a firmware update. It's not what I would call intuitive. It's a tap and hold to activate, which means if you want volume up and volume down, you have to change both right and left earbud shortcuts accordingly, which means you lose the ability to cycle through ANC and ambient sound mode. The Bose QC earbuds have a swipe up or down gesture to increase or decrease volume. granted they do have a larger touch surface to work with. And then there are a few other gripes, and maybe because I've come to expect these things from earbuds. For starters, taking one earbud out does not pause your music. You have to take both out at the same time for that to happen, and as far as I can tell, the music does not resume when you put them back in your ears. Another thing is that they don't kick into ambient mode when you are on a phone call, which is annoying. Even if you have voice detect on, that doesn't appear to do anything when you're on a call. People generally like to hear their own voice when they speak on the phone, particularly so they don't end up yelling. That's why even with the headphones that do not have transparency mode, they still kick in some sort of transparency mode when you're on a call, like the Bose QC35 for example, which is a smart thing to have. I don't know why the Galaxy Buds Pro don't do that, so if you're on a call, you have to tap and hold to activate ambient sound manually, and if you've configured that shortcut to increase or decrease volume, then you're out of luck. Another gripe is their seamless switching. That only works on Galaxy devices, which is understandable, but also it leaves out the laptop. With the AirPods, if you have a Mac, you're in on the auto switching game too. I would have rather the buds had multi-point to connect to any two devices at the same time instead of the seamless switching. And my last gripe is that the iOS app does not support these buds, so you cannot control or access many of the features. This might change in the future, so this might be a temporary gripe. One of the things I do like is the multiple ambient modes. This might be less useful, but it's cool to have that super hearing ability if you want to. I also like that these don't use the master-slave configuration, which means you can use either the left or the right earbud independently, which is a very welcome feature, similar to the AirPods Pro, but unlike the Bose QC earbuds or the Jabra Elite 85. The voice detect is another cool feature. I like that it's there, but I don't know how useful it would be in real life, especially with the delay it needs to kick in, but it's cool to have. Call quality is not bad either, and lastly, price is also something I like. I'm happy Samsung decided to price these less than the competition because, in all fairness, they deliver less than the competition does. At $199, they're less than the Jabra 85T, which retail for $229, less than the AirPods Pro, which retail at $249, and less than the Bose QC earbuds, that retail at $279. The Galaxy Buds Pro are Samsung's greatest earbuds, yes. But are they the greatest earbuds out there? Far from. Still, they offer a decent experience. Are they good enough for you? Well, that's for you to say, and I hope this review has helped you in that purchase decision. If it has, please hit the like button, and if you'd like to see more of this content, please consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing it. Until next time, cheers.